So they've had arrests, and this one guy said, they just arrested for disorderly conduct or something, right? And this piece of shit guy said, which is probably nothing compared to what Abrigo Ray or whatever this guy is, that's over at Sicote or whatever in El Salvador prison there. And he said that, which is totally innocent of human trafficking, stuff like that. And I just call this guy a piece of shit cunt. Because I can't believe people don't know this guy from MS-13. Abrigo, whatever his name is. Alright? These pieces of shit support human and sex traffickers and stuff, rapists, child molesters. And these pieces of shit are on the fucking street. These rats. These pieces of shit. Don't belong here. Pieces of trash. These pieces of shit that, just say, oh my God, these guys are victims. These people that are committing all these crimes. These pieces of shit. All lined up are for human trafficking, sex trafficking, child sex trafficking, rapists, molesters. Fuck you. It pisses me off that these rats are causing these problems. I mean, I'm not... The thing is that they're okay with this. If you come here naturalized, you come here in a lawful way, I'm cool with that. You're vetted. And you're not some rapist. You're not a human sex trafficker. There are some good people that are here that immigrated here. But a lot of us came here the lawful way. And to be honest, water cans and stuff like that. I mean, honest, live ammunition. Back in my day, I remember a time when they would have used live ammunition on people. They wouldn't have put up with this and everything. And, just in LA, there are millions of illegals. It is. I mean, what they let in, and to be honest, it's both sides, Democrats and Republicans. Both sides are at fault. Bush started that with different countries during the Iraq War and stuff. And then there's Persian Gulf, actually. That was Bush Sr. Then there was Bush Jr. Then there was of course Obama. There was Clinton and stuff like that. And it's gotten totally out of hand. It got totally out of hand. Biden just let all this stuff happen. And there's stuff I hate about both sides. I'm not on one political side. I'm not. And I don't hate Mexicans. I don't hate Latinos. I got Latinos in my family. I'm mixed, race and stuff and everything. But I got no respect for these people that just feel like they can take over streets. And they want illegals also taking our money, our tax dollars, get free rent, free housing across the U.S., free health care. And they're getting it cut off, and so it's like they're pissed. They're pissed. They're out in the streets. They're creating riots and stuff like that. Why? Because they're getting cut off for getting stuff for free. And the LAPD is a part of the problem. The LA County Sheriff's is a part of the problem. News scum is a part of the problem. What he's done is treasonous. What News Scum has been doing is totally treasonous. What Bass has done is treasonous. But they're out. They shouldn't be imprisoned for what they've done. And this is why we have this problem. And people need to get, and people's businesses are being shut down. People can't get gas, people can't get food. People cannot get medications. So now we have to be a slave to these rats that are shutting down our streets. These rats, degenerates. And it's like, if you come through our country, like our ancestors, and I have some tribal, our ancestors were not allowed, we got nothing for free. We got nothing for free. They're getting everything for free. Unless they work it. The thing is, a lot of illegals, of course, are taking our jobs. They're taking our jobs. And it's like, so the illegals, they're getting our jobs, like Tyson Foods. Different food companies have taken out Americans in their jobs, got rid of them, and they're using the illegals for lower labor. They're using them for lower cost labor, illegals. So they're also taking our jobs as well. And there's just a lot of stuff that people have no idea what's going on. They don't. And I mean, it's like, I don't have anything against, Mexicans or anything like that, or Latinos and stuff, because they're bad people coming from North Korea. They're people coming from, bad people from Ukraine, from Russia, China. It's not just, Mexico. It's not. And so, I mean, like, one of the guys that they nabbed earlier today that sparked the riots was a Filipino. He was a Filipino. He wasn't even Latino. So, let's see. Let's see. If I can, hopefully. Hopefully I spell right. I spelled that wrong, but I don't feel like. Yeah, I'm spelling wrong. Let's see. So I mean, the thing is, this is not just about Latinos. They're not. It's not just Latinos. It's people from around the world that are coming over. They're not being vetted. They weren't searched and stuff, and they'd tear apart their visas. They'd rip them apart. So Customs, Border Patrol wouldn't know who they were, or they wouldn't bother to vet them, of course. This is what Biden did, and I'm glad he's having a terrible death. I'm glad Biden is dying a terrible death. He deserves it. He's a piece of shit for what he did. I have no remorse for what Biden is going through. He deserves a terrible death, and he's getting it. Karma's setting him in. And there's some good people that came here illegally. The thing is, the cartels are using them. They keep on saying that they owe them money, and so people are being trafficked here by gangsters, cartel, and stuff like that. This is not being discussed. And if they would have come here legally, they wouldn't have the cartels and gangs going after their money. If they came here legally, they wouldn't have paid all this money to get smuggled illegally and owe the gangs and cartels money back. There's so much stuff, and so I see these rats on the streets, say fuck guys, stuff like that. And ICE is actually protecting illegals by getting them away from the gangs and the cartel people. They're trying to extort and blackmail money from illegals that are already here. And this needs to be talked about because it's not enough. It isn't. And they're taking over our streets. And there's a right way to protest and everything like that. And I just want people to be educated about the reality of what's happening. This has nothing to do with race. Because every type of person has been coming through here illegally. There's Chinese, there's Russian, Ukrainian, there's Sudanese, there's Haitian, Latino, different Latin countries. This isn't just about Mexico and Mexicans. It isn't. That's just a big lie. And it's used to divide Americans and divide people. It doesn't matter where you come from. There are laws that people need to go through when coming here. And it's like our ancestors, we had to be vetted. We got nothing for free. Nothing. And if we were sick, if we didn't have money, they wouldn't let us through. They wouldn't. We didn't get free health care. We didn't get free housing. We didn't get food stamps because food stamps never existed back then. There's no such thing as food stamps back in the day. There was no health care. And if our ancestors were sick, when try to migrate here, they weren't let through. They weren't let through whatsoever. You're left out there to die. You're just left out there to die. You know, they weren't going to help you unless they smuggled you somehow. And so, I mean, I keep having to throw this out there, pin this out there, say that these people, by doing this, they're for the cartels, they're for human and sex and child trafficking, child sex trafficking and stuff like that, because that's exactly what they're doing. They're for that. You know? And like I said, it's not just Latinos. It's all these other, foreigners that are coming in. There's good people that are trying to migrate here. They're not all bad. But everybody has to be vetted. There are laws. And a lot of these people, if they're arrested, and other news is not putting this out, is that some people that they arrested have been convicted of sex crimes. Rapists, molesters, and stuff like that. Some murder, and assault and battery, and it's just, this is what mainstream news isn't going to put out. Mainstream news does not put this out. They don't. Because they want this to be about race. They want this to say, hey, you're targeting Mexicans or Latinos. No. They've gone after Ukrainians. They've jailed Ukrainians. They've jailed Russians. They've jailed Chinese nationals that have come here illegally. This is what mainstream news. But I'm going to tell you this. Because those are the facts. And so when these people hear the news, they think that they're targeting Latinos. That's not true. And people need to do, their own investigative journalism. Because mainstream news is not telling you the truth. A lot of people don't want to hear the truth. This is why we have all civil war type thing going on. And it should have never gotten to this place. It never should have. But we have politicians that, are not for protecting Americans. They just want to argue and say, this is your fault, this is your fault. And this is both sides. This isn't one side. They actually get off on attacking each other, saying, hey, we're the right ones to vote for us. Instead of doing something about it, protecting us. This is a byproduct of, politicians not doing their jobs on both sides. I mean, Clinton talked about needing to stop, illegal immigration. Obama did, but they let it happen. George Bush, I think, might have even said something too, but they just let it happen. I think, with mainstream news, they just want to create that division and say that they're going after Mexicans or Latinos, and that's really bullshit because, like I keep saying, and the facts are they have jailed a lot of Chinese people Ukrainians, Russians as well. And just that it really needs to nice if they told the truth about that. Let me see here. I need to repin this. There, I updated, hopefully. They're just not putting out the facts, they're not. This is really sad because this didn't even need to happen. Acer News just lying about the realities of this crisis. There's my homies there, Twin Towers, shout out, brothers, sisters, reps. What's love to any of the innocents that are there? Okay. Anyways. $10:45 over there. But they don't have any audio there. They're not having any audio. What they do is just have a bunch of no-lifers with no job, no life or anything. They just create trouble. They want to be arrested. They're wearing these terrorist things on themselves. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, make mommy, daddy proud. I'm a terrorist. Hear me roar. Look, mommy, daddy, I'm a terrorist today. I'm proud of you, son. You just got arrested for being a nuisance to everybody. Congratulations, son. You're a loser. You managed to shut down roads, create fires, destroy vehicles, make it to where people cannot get groceries, cannot get medicine, cannot get food. Yeah, you make mommy, daddy proud. Now go back to your stupid basement. Maybe you should just lock yourself in or not come out. But I look at that. You just harass. They could get you for harassment. I mean, they could. I mean, geez. When I've been a dick to some police before, Oh my god. But back in the day when I was an asshole to some, I'd get a beating though. I'd get a beating. These nowadays, what has happened with law enforcement? What has happened with law enforcement? It's just they become pussies in some ways. I mean, there's good. I mean, there's plenty of stuff I attack cops on, but stuff like this is just made them into pussies. You know, it's like back in my oh man, they would never allow this. It's like so they get away with just harassing them now, getting their faces. I could not be a cop. I could, I would, when people get in my face and they do stuff like this, I lash back out because I've been through abuse and stuff. I've had people, do stuff to me. So when people do that, I just automatically hit back or whatever. So I mean, that can create trauma too. When people like that get in their faces, that's disgusting. It's just ridiculous. And I've seen, of course, some Antifa terrorists having started fires in places. So there's some stragglers over there. It's late. It's 10:50 where they are, I believe. Maybe they feel at home being by the jail. I think so. I think that's Twin Towers, is it? I could be wrong. Because it looks like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it just reminds me of those windows like that. Hey, for some homes where hard is, and some for jail, that's what it is. But actually, that's the nice people in jail that were innocent of what they were being jailed for. But some people like this, so these rotten people are definitely not. They're just there to be trash and to shut everything down. I mean, I don't have any empathy for any group of people, any kind of people. I don't care what color. You shut down streets and stuff like that, just a nuisance. I have no sympathy for their cause. And then it's like, no wonder people hate you. I don't care if you're white, black, Latino, Asian, whatever. You're just a menace to everybody. And you shut down freeways or whatever. They think it's okay. It's not. I say shoot them if they're doing that. Just shoot them, get them out of the way. Because there's a right way, there's a wrong way of doing things. If people want to get home, if you're going to shut down a street, make it an insignificant street, I don't know. I mean, in some ways, I've always talked about we need a revolution. In this country, I've said that we do need a revolution. But the problem is, there are too many different tribes. There are too many different kinds of people in this country now. And it's not a good thing when you have too many extremists with diversity. I've got some, Asian. I got some Jewish. I got some tribal, all kinds of different stuff. You know, many different countries and stuff like that. But when there are extremists, and I've said this, where diversity can be the worst thing, because then you have too many extremists in this country or other countries. And this is a problem that we got here. We got all these extremists from all these other countries creating a cancer, not just here, but in Europe, UK, and stuff. Diversity is good when they are willing to fit in with society. But when they are extremists, they come over like this stupid twat here. Just run them over. Just run them over. They'll get the hint. They're leaving this guy. What the fuck? You left the cop there, you stupid idiot. What the fuck is your problem? They're taking over. What the fuck? You cunts. You stupid cops. You stupid piece of shit cops. Shoot them. Shoot them. Shoot them. Fucking Christ, cops. Shoot those bitches. What the fuck's wrong with you, huh? These stupid rats. These pieces of shit. Shoot them, fuckers. Shoot those fuckers, for Christ's sakes. What the fuck's wrong with you? You're not even looking after your own cop there. You're not even backing him up. You left them to die there. Then when they're screaming, you go, oh my God, we forgot you. Oh my God. We gotta go, what the fuck? Retards. Who are these idiots in these vehicles? What the fuck? Shoot these guys! Shoot them! Shoot them! They're part of the problem. I said it. I said it. I've said this. I've said it over and over. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. You have to use force. You have to use force. You have to use live bullets or whatever. That's the only way to get the message. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe me. Look. I hate to say it, but look at this. Look at this trash. Look at these rats. Look at these filthy rats. They should all be run over or shot. They should all be shot. All of these people here. Feel like that should be allowed to live. They're not doing anything for society. They're not doing anything. I got my own problems. I have my own anger issues. But I mean, I've called for the destruction of government and stuff like that and everything, but Jesus. I mean, that's because our politicians don't do anything. Our politicians do nothing. They don't. All they do is argue with each other, say it's your fault, or whatever. And this is what happens. Do you guys know what you're doing? Look at him. It is 10:50, almost 11 p.m. And these rats are out. Run them over! Run them over! Shoot them! The only thing that they're going to take to get it through their heads to stop is lethal force. They're not there. This isn't about immigration or illegal immigration so much. These are just rats. They're worse. Actually, rats are smarter. I don't want to offend rats. I don't want to offend rats. Okay? Rats are more intelligent than these people. Neanderthals have more intelligence than these people. Look, they're just going out. Look at these rats. Dude, you have to use lethal. Run them over. Dude, run them fucking over. Run the bitches. You're allowing it. What the fuck? You idiots need to shoot them. You're emboldening them if you don't listen. If you don't shoot them, if you don't use lethal force, you're emboldening them. By not doing anything, you're emboldening them for them to bring more people and for them to use lethal force against the police. That's the psychology. I know psychology. Okay? I've done psychology and stuff. And you let that, happen and stuff. Let me see here. What's going on? Let's see here. Okay. That is their feed? Other than. So. Live feeds are going out. How nice. Is it fuel? I think it's fuel. The thing is, either way, the thing is, you don't use lethal force against these guys. It's emboldening them for them to use force against the police. It's like, okay, we're just going to keep on doing it. And then they bring their guns or other weapons, and it emboldens the other side to do worse. You have to use force on force. It's psychology and everything. It's psychology. It's basic psychology. Let's see.
This right over here that we've been showing you throughout the evening here, right here at Temple and Alameda Street, you can see traffic is flowing. But when we flip the camera around further down, heading looking at First Street, in the distance there, you can see it looks to be like a crowd of people. And I want to go to some video from just moments ago when they were throwing objects at patrol cars and police cars as they were getting out of the area there. When police were clearing the scene, a group of agitators threw items at those patrol cars, and that's what you should be looking at right now. You know, this all started today. There was a peaceful protest that kicked off about 6 o'clock.
It was not peaceful, you
It was very
dumbass.
peaceful. At times,
It
people
was
did go
not
into the
peaceful.
streets, but
Stop
it was
putting that
nothing
bullshit out
too
there.
out of the
I'm
ordinary.
not gonna allow you.
But
I'm gonna
as-
censor your bitch ass. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna allow you to do that. I censor your dumb ass. All right. They're not peaceful. They're starting fires. They're vandalizing vehicles, throwing rocks at vehicles, etc. Okay? I'm not going to allow you to lie to the American people. You're lying your ass off. There are riots. They're rioting. Don't lie. I'm not going to allow your bitch ass to lie. You've done enough of that. I'm not going to allow it. I'm going to censor your ass. I'll give you a downvote for that. Just give these guys downvotes. And you give them all downvotes. Because they're lying to the American people. And they're brainwashing. Yes, you are fucking brainwashing the people. You are lying to the people. You are lying. I'm not going to allow you to lie to the people. I'm not going to allow it. There's nothing peaceful about it earlier. Stop your bullshit. They're not peaceful. They were not. A lot of those people should have been shot. They should have been shot. I'm just not going to allow you to lie about it. You're pissing me off, and people deserve better. This is my newscast right now. I'm just censor you because you're putting out lies. I'm done with that. And they're trying and spin this a certain way.
right here like we did earlier, that doesn't mean they're still not here. They are still in the area, and they are keeping a very close eye on things, including from above with the helicopter. The LAPD's chopper has been circling numerous times in this area, so they are keeping a close eye on things.
No lifers, no contributor to society is what they are. I hate to even call them rats because rats are actually smarter. Now, rats can cause a problem, of course, but I feel like I'm offending rats by calling them rats. That's pretty bad. She's actually pretty hot. Sad.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, and we've seen that throughout the night here. Just when you think it might be getting calm, we
Damn.
won't count that as an incident, but you know, just when you think it's getting calm, things pick up right up again. And that's what we've been.
Alright. Oh god, I can't. I'm half deaf and even that messes up my hearing. But the other live was news have canceled pretty much. So I don't know how long they're going to have on here. But now, like I keep saying, if they don't use force on these guys, they're going to use force back. It only emboldens the other side, not the size. It emboldens the other side. I think it's two different things at the same time. It only emboldens the other side to do more bad things and to keep doing it on a much bigger scale. Psychology and stuff like that. And right now, what the police and stupid law enforcement is doing is emboldening these, these criminals, these thugs, to do more and more of what they're doing, and it just make things worse by allowing it and stuff. And they need to change that.
use a crosswalk to go across.
He wants us to stay for one more hit.
I can use a hit. I can use a hit. Probably some people that think I could use a good hit.
I feel like we're really getting to know each other now. Yeah, right. God.
She's actually hot. She's down. She put out a lot of vlogs. She put out a lot of vlogs. Yeah, I got put it out there. Like the others. I mean, as much as, yeah, those are out. Bless you. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Is it? Is that 13? Wow, bro. Oh, that's it. Damn. Hold on. Sorry about that. Let's see here. So that's all. Move here. Move here. Yeah, that's the only one. Wow. Oh, that's the only one left. That's the only one that's there. That's the one I see. I mean, there's some repent ones, but I don't want to use their fees because I have permission. Mainstream use is not a problem.
You want to do it from here?
Yeah, it's like, they think that I'm trying to steal their stuff. I'm not. I'll give them a shout out. I mean, I like what Agenda Free News TV, did not give it, I don't know, maybe they did give a shout out, but me, I'd be giving that a shout out, stuff like that, but. Is this it? Whoa, bro. You need to get some antibiotics. You get some antibiotics, you do, you're sick. I know a person's sick, I've done nursing and stuff, you're sick. Sounds like you can use an inhaler too. Yeah, you're sick. Sounds like you could have bronchitis or something. Or something else. You have bronchitis or flu. So you definitely need time to get that checked out. I can hear it. They're still creating problems. These trashy people. Just know it. They're anarchists. These guys are fucking trash. I bet these guys are purposely using the Mexican flag so they can use it as a race card. They would not even be Mexican. They're just using that. coming
Okay,
back.
they're gonna take me after Zach.
Babe, babe, they're moving over there. Yeah, look behind you, babe. Yeah. You're getting sick because he's sick. You guys are, he's contagious. Yeah, see, babe? Right there. Yeah. Yeah, sister. Right there. Not. You got a beautiful face, but I wish you had a more beautiful mind. Yeah, they know about what is open, what's vulnerable, and they keep on switching too. I'm gonna turn this down. Because if it's bothering someone like me that's half deaf, then it has to be a lot worse. Yeah, she's getting pissed too.
Can't hear you guys if you're talking to me. I can't hear you. Okay.
I do not like that where she put out misinformation, false information like that. Say that this is all peaceful. They're not. We got flashing some light out there.
I don't know. Okay, yeah, because I'm not feeling good out here, so can we come to me quickly here as soon as he's done?
Yes.
Because there's a lot of people
The
out here now.
rats, the
and there's no police.
infestation. The infestation is moving. The roaches, yeah. Is it? Let's see here. What's going on? Yeah, it's fine. It's them. Let's see here. It's going out again. It's their feed. Is that really? Did she turn off or what? I wonder if.
Groups of agitators like this into custody,
Period.
but I would estimate the crowd to be at around about 80 to 100. So they certainly need to get here quickly to take them into custody. They're moving away from that tear gas. Certainly pains your eyes, makes it hard to breathe. So they're going to certainly keep their distance now from the entrance to the garages, Susan.
Yeah, indeed. And you see that high-powered flashlight. So the agents are using that light. That's also an intimidation tactic when you've got that bright light in your eyes. And then we're watching these agents as they stay behind that gate. They're pretty far away from the street. And the people now, they're not in the direct contact of where, if you're throwing tear gas canisters or flashbangs, but they seem to be under that tree, so a little bit, excuse me, away from a direct kind of aim, if you will, by those federal agents, by the Border Patrol, or whomever it is behind those gates. And as we continue to watch, the number of people, I do see a couple members of the media that are, trying to take pictures, but now these agents are coming out. I see at least one guy with his gun drawn. What do you suppose they're trying to do? And more tear gas or more flashbangs?
They're just trying to keep them away from the entrance here, I think. And unfortunately, or for them, they're firing them this way, but the wind is blowing to the north. so they can fire it as much as they like to the south, but it's not going to have too much effect,
It's
unfortunately,
blowing
because
back on them.
the wind is blowing the tear gas
Just use bullets.
back
Just
onto
shoot
the
them.
officers. You see a guy there kicking that canister back down the road. So you've got to remember that
Just
I'm not sure if
shoot
you call these guys
them.
protesters. They're more anarchists having a bit of a time
They'll
out here
learn.
tonight. I know
They'll
LAPD
stop.
are motivating or moving to try and get here to try and take these guys into custody, but that's yet to be seen whether they can get back here quick enough.
It's
I am a
not
little
effective.
surprised that the Homeland Security officers
Oh,
would have potentially thought they would have let the group get larger and to make them more easier to take into custody. Maybe the two, as we know, they're not supposed to be talking to each other, the Homeland Security wise as well as LAPD. So they're definitely not on the same page there. The air there just filled with tear gas.
That
All those
is
officers obviously have gas
BS.
masks on so they can stay in that area. And you got to remember, these are probably just people driving down Alameda tonight.
They won't
didn't,
talk to each other.
ask to be
I mean,
involved in this, but these protesters are
this is the bullshit problem of the politicians in the state have created this anarchy, degeneracy. You know, stupid Yuska, Mayor Bass, and the other officials, they created this anarchy. They should be swimming with the fishies right now. They created this. Or they helped to. Both sides are at fault, but you know, more so with them, Biden and stuff like that. When federal officials and state local are not communicating, that leaves gaps and holes and all these vulnerabilities. So when the military comes in, they're not going to be chatting with LAPD. That's not good. And you need one type of force to be at command, to take that command. You can't have two different ones that have their own, you know, different ways of doing things. You're not going to get rid of the problem. It makes it worse. Makes all this worse. This isn't going to get solved with the people in office like that.
Back into the area, and the federal officers were trying to get them to disperse, and that's when the tear gas was fired again.
Those
so
are
now
not
you
federal.
see people
That's
leaving the area.
Those are not federal. That's LAPD. There's a huge difference.
Temple and Alameda, so they're doing
These
what we
pieces of
discussed
trash.
earlier, Susan, which is to keep peace, not an arm of immigration, but here to make sure that the community of Southern California here in Los Angeles, the city, is safe. So they have arrived on the scene here now. People have dispersed, and it's now, you can basically feel the temperature
We need
lowering
martial law.
as
We
they're
do.
containing
We
the
need-
area. But it was really quite odd, because when some of this first started, as you can see behind me, regular traffic is going through this intersection. Just people, I don't know if they're looky-loos or they're people who think they have business here in downtown Los Angeles.
They don't.
But there is no
They're
one
rats.
doing traffic control.
Cockroaches.
Now that the
Smell
black and whites are
cockroaches.
here, they will
And just
prohibit
roaches.
motorists from getting north of Temple. But up until not that
I
long
won't
ago,
fit
you could have
rats too
driven
much,
through this
okay.
intersection, which was quite remarkable,
Here
thinking
comes the
what was
roaches.
going on
Roaches.
not that far away. So
The
this is the scene
infestation
out
is
here.
real.
It's chaotic. It was quiet about 30 minutes ago. You know, we were live and it was pretty
There's a
serene.
big, huge
That's how
roach right
quickly
there.
things can change. And I think a lot of this has to
Lose
do
some
with
weight.
social media. People post, they tell you where the action is, and then other people show up. A lot of this, it's, you know, you and I grew up in a time where people talked on the phone, but now,
Yeah,
if you want to get the word out, it's very easy. You just post onto social media, and you can get a crowd together in not that long amount of time. And I think that's a lot of what we're experiencing
They'd have
through
to
what's
shut down
happening
the
here in
internet,
LA right now.
obviously.
All right, Laura, thank you. Going back
I
up.
mean, if they had to, I mean, that's what China does. Russia, you know, they shut down. Will they have to do it now? Will they have to shut down the internet? Look at this. Look at these roaches. Look at these roaches. No contribution to society. Done nothing to help other people. These are people that are destroying society. Oh my God, that's the Metro Rail? It looks like Metro Rail. These rats. This is what you let into the country. You let these rats into this country. You let these roaches in. Look what they're doing. They're making a mockery of you guys. They don't respect you guys. You have to get the respect back. You have to use force on them. That's the way they'll respect you. That's the way that that's the way criminals think. And that's how I would think. You know, that's how I would think. If you don't put force on me to gain that respect, then I ain't gonna respect you. You have to force it. You have to just pin them down. You have to shut them down. Force them down. You have to do it by force. Because they're not going to respect you. They just see law enforcement as a joke, which they are right now. They're a total joke. Total joke. I mean, look at this. Just, I mean, roaches.
Looking at, what are you over?
Yeah, so it's the same spot. I'm just trying to give us a bit of a different angle. Now that wall is probably about 8 feet high. It's a concrete wall. I've parked my vehicle there many times covering stories, and they're helping each other up over that wall. As we said, they're running here along the tracks. Now I'm unsure where that comes. I think that actually runs into, that's a metro track, I think, and it runs into Union Station. So here we are. We certainly need to alert Metro or Amtrak, let them know there are people on the lines, because that's very, very dangerous. Certainly they've got to come out somewhere. LAPD, they rushed in here. They don't seem to be moving to make any arrests at this stage. All they're doing is creating the skirmish line there, maybe waiting for more numbers. But certainly they wanted these guys to disperse, but they didn't think they would have this type of effect. This is really odd, Suze. I've never seen anything like this.
Indeed. Yeah, and those trains, the Metro trains, the Metro Rail operates to midnight. We're about a half an hour or so until that time period when they stop down. But meantime, that rail line, which would be, I believe, the little Tokyo station, but it's going under the street there and could wind up, they're actually moving away from Union Station, are they not? Justin, do I have my directions correct?
Yes, that's correct. I apologize, my mistake there. So yeah, they are moving. So they're moving southbound along Alameda. I'm unsure what line that is, but certainly
These
they're
guys
below the
are
ground
2
there. And
steps ahead
no,
of
I think
the
there is a
police.
little,
That's not
you're correct,
good.
the little Tokyo station I think is down here below us. So they're going to come.
They have more intelligence than law enforcement has. That's bad. And they have more intelligence than they do. That they're 2 steps ahead of them. That they're using the aerial shots to see where to go. They're using the news, actually. Which is crazy. They're using the news as well. Honestly, what I think is they need to shut down the internet. If they want to get a stranglehold, I think they'd have to shut down the internet. Social media. I think they have to shut it down. It's going to piss everybody off, but I think that's one of the ways. You have no intelligence without, the internet. You have none.
I've noticed on the walls. I'm sorry, producer Brooks, say again? Okay, well, let's go back down to Laura Diaz on the ground. Go ahead, Laura.
You can see the large assembly of those black and whites, LAPD, right there at the corner of Temple and Alameda. About 20 people are milling about close to us. Some of them have described themselves as protesters. They said that when they got up there, it started out pretty calmly, and then all of a sudden, there were the flashbangs and the tear gas. But right now, people are just kind of milling about, and there is traffic. If we pan off there, Elliot, you can see that there are people just in their cars going through this intersection. Again, I don't know if they're coming down here to check out the action or if they're really not in tune with what's happening and just driving through the area, but it all strikes me as rather odd. We do see a lot of young people walking by, and most of them don't want to talk to.
Yeah, gee, I wonder why. Because they get ID'd. They know what's going on, or otherwise they would wear those masks. They're wearing those masks because they know. They know.
Not as calm as it was when I talked to you before that. So it just kind of ebbs and flows. People are still milling about. I think the great majority of them are coming here just to check out the scene. Some of them might have been a part of that initial protest. Once again, though, Susan, getting back to social media, and just the word gets out, go there, that's what's happening, and people show up, and some of them will roll video on it, or...
Stop putting that misinformation out there. They're causing trouble. They wouldn't do the subway. They're stopping traffic. They're throwing rocks and stuff. Stop your bullshit. Stop your bullshit and say that they're just there, not doing anything. I'm not going to allow that and cut you off.
Showing you earlier today, the tensions erupted near a Home Depot in Paramount, and the protesters clashed violently with the Border Patrol agents. Here's Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf.
They're not protesters, they're rioters, they're criminals. They're thugs. They should have been shot, honestly. They should have been shot for that. Because they're obstructing. They're obstructing. Yeah, they're harassing. Just shoot them. Why is that guy on a fucking horse? They're taking our jobs. They're taking American jobs. They're taking American jobs. They're not like anybody else. They're taking our jobs. They're getting lower wages doing their jobs. Look at that. That stuff can kill people. What they're doing, that can kill people. They're not protesters, they're thugs. They're criminals. They're rioters. And the news is lying to everybody about, the truth about. I'm so happy. I'm a low-life degenerate.
Promising more arrests.
Just rest assured the FBI is monitoring everything, and we will find each and every person who damaged and destroyed our federal property or who hurt an officer. We'll come get you. Don't you worry.
Reporting in Paramount, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
All right, tensions high around the city tonight.
Rioters.
Earlier, right after that report by Matthew, this
rioters.
happened, and Justin was overhead. This is a fire, a car that was brought into the intersection of Atlantic and Alondra.
They're taking over streets. They're doing donuts and everything. Those are rats. That is rat behavior, cockroach behavior, and everything. Trash behavior, pieces of shit behavior. That's what they should be called, rats and all that stuff. It's not okay. It's not. People that like these human sex traffickers, these rapists and everything else, that think it's okay and stuff like that, they're contributing to society. Like I said, there's some good people that have been, across the board, but there's a lot. There's no vetting. Nobody was going over, who was a criminal and who wasn't. When the people across the board, they didn't do that.
In Skyfox over the current situation. This is in downtown LA, not far away from Little Tokyo and the Federal Building, the Roybal Building. And Justin, weigh in on what you saw with the car fire and then give us an up-to-date situation here.
Yeah, well, earlier there at the Paramount, when we were there, it seemed to be really quietening down. Then all of a sudden, somebody wheeled or drove a Camry into the intersection. It appeared they threw a fireworks inside, opened the driver's door and the back door, and then the car just erupted into flames. The wind actually carried all this huge black smoke over the sheriff deputies who were there, blocking their view, but it was almost a Mad Max type scene because quickly it became almost like a street takeover where you had guys on motorbikes doing wheelies around the burning vehicle. After about 20 minutes, the LA County Fire came in with protection from the Sheriff's Department, firing pepper balls at the crowd so they could get in. They eventually put out that flame, put out that car. But just to top it off, the sheriff's deputies ended up having to retreat because the crowd set fire to some brush where the sheriff deputies were standing, and they had to retreat, and they went all the way back to the 710. And around just after that, we actually made our way here to the detention center, and there was a peaceful protest during daylight. There were people out on the street. Both lanes were open, cars were driving past and waving their flags. But as soon as darkness fell, a crowd turned out here, and they began to amass out front of the building. I'll just ask my pilot, Chris, to give me a look at the front of the building there so we can talk about it. And the crowd got very close to the building. There seemed to be fireworks going off. Unsure whether that was fireworks or stun guns coming from the federal agents inside. But then a short time after that, the gates of the garage opened opened up, and the Homeland Security agents came out firing tear gas, dispersing the crowd very quickly. Great pictures from Skyfox, but it was a very scary moment for a lot of innocent people there, mainly reporters who were just trying to cover the story there, had to retreat quickly. That caused LAPD, obviously, to come in and take over and clear the streets. But as we saw here, Suze, about 30 minutes ago, the crowd really came out in front of the detention center again, forcing LAPD to come in en masse, to almost corral them in, to try and take them all into custody. We saw about 50 people climb over a brick wall here onto the railway tracks and then make their way into a tunnel. And as I said, I believe that actually tunnel comes out, or that train stops at the Little Tokyo station about a block away. So LAPD believe that's where all those people are. And I think LAPD are just letting them off go into the night now. They have about 10 people up the other end of the street here towards the 101 freeway who they're talking to. Unclear whether they're going to take those guys into custody.
In the course of this newscast, and we of course started at 10 o'clock, we've gone past our typical 11 o'clock finish, but we saw a skirmish line in the downtown area. We saw the skirmish line then go away. LAPD officers got back into their vehicles and left. And then in that short period of time between then and now, there were enough protesters that continued their way to that area that you were just showing us up the federal building, and created that situation again where federal agents decided to fire on them with tear gas and flashbangs. And there was enough chaos that it then brought back out the LAPD. Now remember, LAPD, Homeland Security, they're not really working together. LAPD is looking to make sure that the streets of LA stay safe and peaceful.
Well, that's what ICE dumb piece of shit. That's what ICE is trying to do. Unlike LAPD and the sheriffs. Okay? They create this problem with criminals ready to take over the street. And loose scum. You know, and Bass and these other people. Okay, they created this problem. You know, it's their fault. They created this anarchy where these rats and these cockroaches are just running amok. And they're going to keep on doing it till LAPD and the sheriffs decide to actually do something. Fuck them. I got no respect for them. That, you know, I mean, I do. I don't have the respect for, you know, the top echelon that does this. I hope something bad happens to them. I hope something really bad happens to them. For latest anarchy happens, lawlessness, and everything happen, where we have terrorists. Little terrorists on the streets. I mean, they'll do whatever the fuck that they want. Just pieces of shit. Like, it's just like criminals are actually running the sheriff's department and LAPD. We got criminals running this, and criminals running the state and everything. Just say, hey, do whatever the fuck you want. Do whatever you want. This is a byproduct. Love that.
The federal agents have their own agenda. But once again, we see the skirmish line in downtown Los Angeles. This is on Alameda. Is that what we're looking at, Justin?
Yes, that's correct, Sue. This is Alameda. It's one block down from the detention center, and if we tilt up to the top of the screen is the 101 freeway there, and heading off into Union Station. So we've got two skirmish lines here. This is the first line, and then we tilt back down the second line here. There is a little bit of a crowd forming here.
This is the thing. They can't be out like that forever. They can't be out like that forever. You have to do things by force. A swift hand. You have to use some very huge force. You know, use that cane, use that whip. Gotta whip them for them to respect you. You have to use force on them. Otherwise, like they're doing, all I see you law enforcement people is a big fucking joke. That's all I see is a big joke. That's why they're still out there. Taunting you, trolling you. That's what they're doing, is trolling you and taunting you. Think you're a joke. Because you're not getting serious with them. But they need bigger jails. They need bigger jails and everything. I mean, what do we have? The military just take control? All this because stupid LAPD sheriffs ain't doing shit? That's the only thing I can think of is just say, get rid of the LAPD and the sheriff's department. They ain't doing their jobs. They're not. They're creating this lawlessness, this disease, this cancer, this virus that's infecting. And it's happening across the country from this political side. This cancer is all over. And it's in other countries too. UK, the European Union, other places around the world. And it's the political side that say, hey, you can do whatever you want. You can attack people, do this and do that. We aren't going to do anything. And if you try to say something, it's racism. And it has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with that.
And again, as I was telling you in those earlier reports, it all happens to be where you are standing at the time and what the temperature is of the group and then what the response back is to whatever action they take. And it's being played out at several areas of Southern California. Certainly downtown has been a hot spot. Earlier today, Paramount was, and people are expressing themselves, and some of them will be arrested for the way they are expressing themselves. Laura Diaz reporting live from downtown.
These dumbass idiots. This isn't about expressing yourself, this is about being a terrorist. This is about being a fucking thug and a criminal. A piece of trash. This has nothing, this isn't a dance. This isn't a fucking rodeo. You know, this isn't a dance off or, you know, club dance, you know, going to a club, doing a dance or something, you know. I mean, this isn't, you know, a rock concert. These are fucking thugs, criminals, rats, cockroaches. Creating this cancer and everything, and mainstream news is enabling it a lot, along with LAPD, Sheriff's Department, and other cities in America and places around the world. Stuff is happening. It's not just America. And the political side is enabling it more than the other. And I attack both equally. There's stuff both sides I hate. But look what's happening here. Look what the LAPD, you know, the people in political office right now, this is what they've done. This is what they believe in. This lawlessness. Degeneracy. Of criminals just taking over the street whenever they want. Stopping traffic whenever they want. Whenever they feel like it. If you don't like it, shove it up your ass. Or just shove it up your ass, or you like it or not, take it. It's what they're doing. That's what they believe in. These are criminals and thugs. These are rats. This is what they think. And it's going to stay like this. I mean, you can only have the police out with this many numbers for so long. You can only have military forces out and about so long. And then, what do? Dissolve LAPD sheriffs? I mean, to be honest, a lot of politicians should be, I think, executed for what they've allowed. They should face execution, I believe. I mean, they're the biggest criminals, really, because they enabled this. And I can also say that about both sides, where they've committed crimes and let things happen. And this is the root cause of it, where, they've allowed this to happen, and it never should have gotten here. I think maybe I should probably keep it. I don't know if I should keep going. I'm not getting responses from anybody. And I usually do it for people to chat and everything. And, people say what I say is extreme. But the thing is that politicians are at fault. Both sides, but definitely Democrats are more so with what's happening. What's happened over the past years. I attack both sides pretty well, but I like being a straight of minded. I know some celebrities, they'll probably never go on. They'll never go on a podcast. They'll never go on to a live stream because of me talking about stuff that's political and like this. And I'm not political. I hate politics. I hate politics. Politicians are the modern mafia. They're modern mafia. And it's like, I talk about stuff like this, it lessens the chances. Each time it's like, I don't like how triggered I can get. I don't like how angry I can get, but yet we all have a good reason to be pissed off, to be angry. Because politicians and the people that are supposed to protect us have not been doing so. They don't care to. It's just fuck everybody else. Let them die. Who cares what happens to our country if we have, these terrorists come in? They're not all bad either, like I keep saying, but there's a lot that are. And this isn't about race, because like I said, you have Ukrainians, North Koreans, Chinese, I think I already said Russians, all that stuff. You have Haitians, all around the world that are coming here. But the news, they're to lie to you and bullshit you. Never trust these news agencies. They're lying out their arses. And they're saying that Latinos are being unfairly targeted. That's bullshit. They are going after Filipino illegals too. Thailand, Vietnam. They're doing that. Mainstream news. It's making this about race so people will shut up. Because they're saying that you're a racist. And none of us are. I'm not. I'm not going to say anything bad about, you know, someone wants to disrespect me or whatever. And this is a byproduct of propaganda, disinformation of these news agencies. They say it's about going after Latinos, and it's not. There are bad people everywhere that have illegally crossed the United States. And we gotta get those sons of bitches that are criminals. We need to deport all of them and get rid of them. And it's not racist to say that these people that have crossed here illegally, they're getting free food stamps, free Social Security, free, Medi-Cal, Medicare benefits. It's not racist to say, it's not wrong to say that. They don't deserve it. Because they don't. They haven't worked for it. A lot of senators have. Or tried to. Anyways, I'm only at 1 right now, so I'm only talking to myself in this thing. And I know he's chiming in, so I'm not going to waste any more time. Y'all have a good, safe night. I'm being racist. Peace out. Take care.